Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, and Colt fans, we've got a lot to talk about.
This is Culture Uncut. I'm your host, Jason Spears, here with a preview of the Detroit Lions at the Indianapolis Colts this week, Sunday at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Lions come into this game 9-1 on an 8-game winning streak, undefeated on the road. The Colts coming off a big comeback win over the Jets, come into this game 5-6. And folks, I've watched a lot of Detroit this week so far, and this is the best team in the NFL on both. I mean, most complete team, best team, every facet, all three phases. They are elite. They're very good on defense. They're very good on offense, and their special teams are as good as it gets as well. So we're going to jump into this, and I'm just going to hit you with some statistics just to let you know what we're up against here, and then we'll get into my analysis and all that going forward into this game. But I just want to say, based on what I watched, this team is relentless. They play with a lot of energy from whistle to whistle for 60 minutes. They play hard. That they have the teams take on the personality of their coach. This is a reflection of Dan Campbell and their coaching staff, and they are relentless. They're physical. They don't make a lot of mistakes. When you make mistakes, they take advantage of it. They will embarrass you if you don't play well, and if you take plays off, they will embarrass you. This is the best team in the NFL right now, and I don't particularly think it's close. Week in and week out, man, they are just an efficient machine. They score a ton of points. They play good defense. They force turnovers, and when they force those turnovers, they destroy teams. They're good on both sides of the ball. Their offensive line is the best in the league. This is an uphill climb. I'm not going to lie. I'm very impressed with Detroit. They're an easy team to like, an easy team to watch because they play with such relentless effort and they execute. And this is the team I want the Colts to be like. So offensively, we all know Ben Johnson is the architect of that offense. They are number one in the NFL, 34 points per game. They have a 45% completion rate on third down, getting a first down, obviously. Third down percentage, 45%, 67% on fourth down. So they're efficient. Even in third down, they're efficient. They have the 8th fewest turnovers, so they don't turn it over a ton. They're just really good. I'll get into their offensive personnel in a second, but just the stats alone, I mean, 34 a game. They bury teams. And bad teams, they really bury. You saw that with Jacksonville last week, 52-6. They killed Tennessee, 52-14. They've gotten better as the season has gone on. I think that loss to Tampa early in the year actually helped them. I think it was the second game of the year at home. They lost 20-16. I think it's helped them because they have not let down since or let off the gas. And when they get you down, they don't just glide to a win. They bury you. And they do it offensively and they do it defensively. So getting into the defense, coached by Aaron Glenn, who's done an outstanding job. Both of these coordinators will definitely be head coaches at some point. The Detroit defense, and again, this is mostly without Aiden Hutchinson. He is hurt, and Alex Anzalone went on the IR as well. So they're missing two of their best players, and they're still really, really good. Number 5 in points per game. They give up 18 a game. Third in forcing turnovers. They play hard. They force turnovers, and those turnovers lead to points, and that's why teams really fall in a hole against Detroit because they can beat you in a multiple ways, and the fastest way is you turning the ball over because they will make you pay. They're +9 in turnover margin. Defensively on third down, they give up 30% on third and 41 on fourth. So their defense is good, and when they get turnovers, they're elite. So Definitely going to get into their personnel as well, but we'll get back to the offense now as I gave you the overview of what we're looking at here. It's going to be tough. This is a top 5, offensive rated team and a top 5 defensive rated team. So jumping into the offense, everybody knows Ben Johnson's offense is led by Jared Goff. He's got 20 touchdowns, 2,500 yards passing, and the number that jumps out to you is 73% completion percentage. So he is very efficient. He does have 9 interceptions, so you can, make some plays against him, but you have to be able to stay in the game and do that. And I think, the crazy thing about this Detroit team is if you watch, their worst game probably outside of Tampa was Houston. They turned it over 5 times, and they still found a way to win. And that is the mark of a great team, not a good team, a great team, a team that can play bad and still find a way to win, and turn the ball over 5 times and still find a way to win. Teams that find multiple ways to win are great teams, and that's what we're facing this Sunday. The running back tandem is the best in the league, in my opinion. Gibbs is an electric back, 796 yards, 6 yards per attempt, 256 yards receiving, and 9 touchdowns. Montgomery is physical. He finds a way. He has a nose for the end zone. Both these guys really do. He averages 4.3 yards per attempt, 205 receiving yards, and 10 touchdowns. So you got 19 touchdowns between these two guys. They are the engine of this Detroit Lions football team. They can run the ball, and if you cannot stop the run, they will eat you alive. And I'll get into my keys of the game, but slowing this run game down is definitely at the top of the list of things that the Colts have to get done to stay in this game. At wide receiver, they've got Jamison Williams and St. Brown. St. Brown leads them in yardage, 685 yards, 9 touchdowns, and then Jamison Williams, 538 yards, 4 touchdowns. The strength of this offense and what makes these running backs so good is their offensive line, led by their center, Frank Ragnow, from left to right, from left tackle to right tackle, Taylor Decker, Glasgow, Ragnow, Kevin Zeitler, Penei Sewell, who is probably the best right tackle in the game. That is an elite offensive line. They play physical. They don't make mistakes. They don't allow their quarterback to be hit, and they open up holes for the running game. And I'm telling you, they're 5 as 1. They play as one. That's the best type of offensive line. When our O-line is rolling, that's how they play. And this, week in and week out, this is the best offensive line in football. The Colts D-line has their hands full this week. This will be the best offense and the best offensive line they play all year, in my opinion. So that's the offense for Detroit. Khalif Raymond is a guy they use a lot on special teams. He's another guy that can make plays for them. So they have a lot of talent on offense. And those 2 running backs, again, that's the engine of the offense. Gibbs is just you cannot allow big plays with him. He's an electric player. It's tough because you're going against such a good offensive line, and he's a special back. He can do special things. And when you look at the yards per carry, 6 yards a carry in the NFL is insane. And so the Colts defense has their work cut out for them this week. It is going to be a very interesting game, and this will test every level of their defense, their D-line, their linebackers, and their secondary. So this is a 3-prong attack. Laporta, a tight end, is also very good. I almost forgot to mention him. He has been injured, but based on what Dan Campbell said yesterday in his presser, he will play. So that is another issue. Colts don't cover tight ends well, and they don't do a great job one-on-one with backs out of the backfield, and these 2 running backs are definitely receiving threats, and you have got to account for them. And once they catch the ball, Gibbs is electric. You have to get to him and gang tackle. Same with Montgomery because he's physical. First contact generally doesn't bring him down, so you're going to have to bring a lot of weight, a lot of heat to these running backs and get them on the ground. Otherwise, that alone could beat the Colts. Just check down passes because these running backs are fast, physical, and they don't go down easy. And that's the way this team plays. They have that Dan Campbell mentality. They do not quit, and they do not go down easy. So the Colts are going to have to play physical. Getting into the defense, they're very stout in the middle. They are missing. They did trade for Zadarius Smith at defensive end. They are missing the best pass rusher in the NFL, in my opinion, or at least one of the top three in Hutchinson. But they do have stout defensive tackles. McNeil has 6 tackles for a loss and 3.5 sacks as a D tackle. He's a physical presence. He's good against the run, and he makes plays. They also have DJ Reader out there, who we've seen in the past, who's been a problem for us when we play Houston. He's a very talented player. So the middle of that defense is tough. You've got linebacker Jack Campbell, 78 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 5 TFLs. Very good player. But the strength to me of this defense is their safety tandem, which might be the most underrated and the best in the NFL. At one safety, you have Kerry Joseph, 7 interceptions already. And that's in 10 games. 7 picks, 1 touchdown, 9 passes defended, 48 tackles. The other safety, Brian Branch, out of Alabama, 4 interceptions, 13 passes defended, 57 tackles, 1 forced fumble. This safety tandem is elite. They have 11 interceptions in 10 games. They make plays. The Colts have got to know where both of these guys are at all times because they are both playmakers and they play very well together. At corner, they've got Carlton Davis, who came over from Tampa, 2 picks, 2 fumble recoveries, 50 tackles, very solid corner. The young corner, Terrion Arnold, and then Amik Robertson. Their secondary is very good. I think it's the strength of their team without their defensive end, and they're missing Anzalone at the linebacker spot. So I think the strength of their team is their safeties. They tackle well. They make plays on the ball. You have to know where they are. You've got to keep the ball away from them because if you don't, they will take it away from you. So that's their defense. They don't give up a lot of points. They turn the ball over and they make plays. They play physical at the point of attack. Even without their best players, they are still a very, very talented defense and elite in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to taking the football away. Again, this is a game you're going to want to keep the Detroit offense off the field and try to be able to establish the run. That's the only path to victory I see in this game. Detroit is just so good in every way. Even their special teams. I mentioned Khalif Raymond. He's had a kickoff return or a punt return for a touchdown. I think he had 2 against Tennessee. He's very electric when he gets the ball in his hands, so they're going to have to make sure they don't let up on him. You can't take plays off of this against this team on any level, in any facet of the football game, in any of the 3 important facets of the game, because they will make you pay, whether that's via a punt return. Their kicker hasn't missed a field goal. His long is 54. He's 15 of 15 from field goal range with the long, like I mentioned, the long of 54. He has missed 1 extra point, but he's made all of his field goals. So, again, this is the best, most well-rounded team we're going to face. I can't compliment this team enough. They're well-coached. They are physical. They don't make mistakes. They're efficient. They turn you over. They take advantage of your turnovers. They when it's third down, they get first downs on offense and get off the field on defense. So I don't see a lot of weaknesses in this team. The only place or maybe shot they have in this game is running the ball, because that's going to allow time of possession and keeping their offense off the field. But even then, I mean, you look at the Houston game, they played poorly from the majority of the first half and a little bit of the third quarter, and then they just came back and it was nothing, and they won that game. So this is the best team in the league for me in the NFL. I don't think it's close. I think it's Detroit and then everybody else. And I think they're going to the Super Bowl. I don't see anybody in the NFC knocking them off. I would be shocked if they lost. They're just too good on both sides of the ball. And that's even without Hutchinson. They're just so good. I know I sound like I'm gushing over them, but if you watch them, there are no weaknesses like that I can see. Now, I'm not like in there, I don't break down film like they do, but there's just not a lot of weaknesses. Maybe their pass rush is a little weak. But again, Aaron Glenn is a good coach. He will figure out a way to get pressure on you. And even if it doesn't result in sacks, a lot of the times it results in turnovers. Again, the 11 INT, 11 interceptions, 22 passes defended between and almost 100 tackles between the two safeties. They're playmakers. So, I mean, they're just very, very good. And that's, they have the personality of their coach, and their coordinators are both going to be head coaches, and the Colts just have enough. I mean, I know you guys want to hear me be positive. The positive is Anthony Richardson's playing, and he definitely gives them a much better chance to win against this team than Flacco does. And they're playing at home, and they're wearing their new the night jerseys or whatever, the Indiana Knights or whatever, and maybe they'll be swagged out and ready to play. I don't know, but this team is just such a complete team, and they're physical. I know I've said this, but they're relentless. Like, they play hard every play. No plays off. So let's get into my keys to the game. Offensively, control the time of possession. I'm usually not a time of possession guy, but we have to win there this week, because if their offense is on the field, our defense is not going to be able to consistently stop that offense. The line is too good. The backs are too good. The quarterback is too efficient. We have to hold on to the ball and score to keep this game close. So how do you do that? Well, key number one, ball control via the running game, checkdowns. Keep Detroit's offense off the field. Keep the third downs manageable. You can't take sacks. You can't have TFLs. You can't have holding calls. You can't have illegal procedure. You can't do that stuff against this team and stay in the game. So number one, ball control via the running game, via short passing game. That has to be one of the tenets this week going into this game. Otherwise, the Colts don't have a chance. If this is one of those games where the Colts are going 3 and out, they are going to get boat raced. This isn't Green Bay. This isn't Minnesota. This team is better than both of those by a wide margin. So that is key number one. Key number two, you got to stay in a manageable down and distance, because this team feeds off third and long interceptions where you're trying to make something happen. You cannot fall behind the chains, and that goes back to the first thing I mentioned with the penalties and getting TFLs and all that. It cannot happen. You have to stay in manageable situations, because if you don't, this team will take the ball away. It's what they do. They're third in turnovers. They have a +9 turnover margin. That is huge in this game. Stay in manageable down and distance. Number three, more than any game this year, they cannot turn the ball over. This Detroit Lion team feeds off turnovers. Now you say, well, every team feeds off. No, it's a feeding frenzy. Once they get one, that can turn into 5. Now, I'm not kidding. I think they had 5 in one game. It can get ugly quick. Do not turn the ball over. If the Colts turn the ball over in this game, again, they have no shot. They have to do these things, or they have no shot in this game. Because this team, this defense, they feed off turnovers. It's blood in the water. It's sharks. It sounds cheesy, whatever, cliche. That's what this team does. They get you in a hole. They bury you. So you cannot turn the ball over. You have to keep your defense off the field, and you can't give them short fields. So, and one stat that I've looked at, they've gotten at least one turnover in every game. Well, the Colts have to be the team this week to not turn the ball over. So those are my 3 keys to the game. I could give you about 5 more. Obviously, not kicking field goals. When you get in the red zone, you're going to have to score touchdowns to beat this team. There's a million other things I could say. You're going to have to open running lanes for JT, but those are the 3 most important to me. Now, my defensive keys to the game, the 3 that I have come up with for this game. And this is going to be tough. No explosive plays. And tackle well. I made that a combination because a lot of Detroit's explosives are off missed tackles. Montgomery is great at breaking tackles. Gibbs is elusive, very difficult to get on the ground. The receivers are very talented. Laporta is very talented. You have to tackle, play well, execute your job. Don't try to do somebody else's job. Stick to what you know. Read your keys, because if you don't and you take a play off, you're going to give up a 70-yard touchdown in this game. And if you do that, you have no shot. If they get explosives in this game, if we give up explosives, it is going to be a long game. So this is a game, like, they're going to score. The Lions are going to score. They average 34 points a game. They have an elite offense. It's the best in the league. But you have to make them go the long route. 10, 15-play drives to score touchdowns, because it eats clock and it allows you to stay close to them. You don't ever want to give up touchdowns, but against this team, if you're going to do it, you want to do it making them earn it, because if you don't, it's just going to be a long game. They get on you, they stay on you. This is a team, once they get on your neck, they stay on your neck until they choke you out. So you have to make them work, you have to tackle well, and you have to, keep the ball in front of you. No explosive plays. Key number 2, force at least 2 turnovers. This is not going to be easy with all that I've said. They're very, very good. They don't turn it over a lot. They have a +9 turnover margin, but you've got to find a way to take the ball away in this game twice. You've got to, or win the turnover battle by 2, because again, we need all the possessions that we can get offensively, and when you get possessions from our defense taking the ball away, you're also taking away possessions from that 34 points a game offense. So getting turnovers in this game more than any game is going to be of the utmost importance, because of what I just said. Possessing the ball, keeping their defense off the field. Think of Peyton Manning, our offense, and how good it was from about 2003 to 2009, right? Or 2000 that's about what it was. It was elite. It was top 5 every year. And what did teams try to do to us? Well, Jacksonville was the best at it. They would run the ball, keep our offense off the field, and stay close and win it at the end, and not allow our offense to get into a rhythm. Well, that's the same thing we're looking at with this Detroit team. You don't want to allow their offense to get into rhythm, and you do that by keeping them off the field, taking the ball away, making their possessions sporadic and not getting in a rhythm. So that is of utmost importance. I can't say it enough, to get at least 2 turnovers or win the turnover battle by at least 2, because we just have to possess the ball to keep their offense off the field. Number 3 seems like common sense, but you have to be locked and loaded for 60+ minutes every play. You cannot take a play off against this team. If you do, they will make you pay. They have playmakers everywhere, at receiver, at tight end, and most of all at running back, and they find ways to get those guys the ball. And so if you take a play off, they will make you pay. They don't take plays off. This team they don't have lulls. They don't take plays off. They play explosive, fundamentally sound, physical football, relentless to the ball on defense, relentless to score on offense. So the Colts cannot take any plays off against this team. They have to play hard, locked in football, every possession, every play, or this Detroit offense will make them pay. They have to play physical. They have to match the Lions' physicality. They have to match their efficiency. They have to match their toughness. And they have to be in this game, and they have to have that for the entire game. They cannot have it for 1 quarter or 2 quarters. This team, the Lions, bury teams in the second and third quarter. So you have to find a way to stay in this game to halftime. And then once you come out, Detroit makes adjustments. They are one of, if not the best coached team in the league. Their head coach is great. Their coordinators are great. They make adjustments. Whatever worked in the first half is not necessarily going to work in the second half. So you have to, our coaching staff and everybody has to be on it this week if they want a chance to win this game. Because Detroit, whether they're on the road or at home, They give the same effort, they play the same way, and they have the same style. Nothing changes. Everything remains the same in terms of their tenets to victory. They play physical, they play fast, they force turnovers, and they're efficient. Those things don't ever leave. That is the blueprint for this team. So our coaches have to be ready to make adjustments. You can't wait. You have to make them on the fly, and you have to be prepared to have those answers in game. You go into your game with a game plan, but you also have to have the secondary answers to their adjustments. You have to plan for their adjustments. So if they make adjustments to what your game plan is, you have an answer to that. Because if you do not, you will get blown out in this game. I can't emphasize that enough. This is a complete team. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They don't take plays off. So this sounds like a friggin' Detroit Lion fan podcast. And honestly, I am a fan of what they're doing. They built this from the ground up. This was a decrepit organization, and they've turned it into a juggernaut in a really short period of time. And it's very impressive. I mean, I'm not a Lions fan, but I will root for them. I'd like to see them win the Super Bowl just because of the way they play the game, man. It's so efficient, fun to watch, and they're so good in every facet of the game. And this is the test. This is a Colts test. Even if they don't win, if they press Detroit and AR plays well and they stay in this game and it's a close game all the way through, I'm not a moral victory guy, but against this friggin' team, I would be impressed with that, because this is a very, very, very good team. In fact, an elite team, the best team in the NFL. And if the Colts can hang tough, keep it close, and have a shot to win at the end of the game, that says a lot about the direction of the team, the way they're playing. And if that happens, that means AR is playing well. And again, what have we said is the most important thing going down the stretch of the season for this Indianapolis Colts team? It's developing AR, building on his good play, and allowing him to get some confidence going into next year. Is this a Super Bowl team? No. Is this a playoff team? Probably not. But the key is developing our quarterback. And last week was step one. Now this is the test. This is going to be tough because you're playing against a very, very good football team that's going to stress you in multiple ways. AR has to be patient. He has to play smart. He can't have any fumbles. He has to take care of the ball. And the offense has to do their job. The offensive skill players, the offensive line, they have to do all that. The defense has to do their job. The defensive line has to show up and play well. The linebackers can't be bad in coverage. They have to be on it all game. And our secondary, the communication has to be there, and everything has to be right, or this could get ugly, because the Lions are good. They're loaded everywhere. My biggest concern, honestly, is the two backs. Run game and out of the backfield, because we don't do a great job with running backs out of the backfield. We've seen multiple guys. Breece Hall did it. We don't do a great job tackling, and these two guys, one of them, both of them break tackles. Montgomery's a bull. It's like thunder and lightning, really, because he's a bull. He rarely goes down on first contact. The Colts don't tackle well in space, and they haven't all year. One-on-one is not their strength. They need to fly to the ball. 11 hats to the ball this week has to be the goal. Everybody has to be given full effort to get to those backs, because they will check it down and they will kill you with those plays, especially on third down, back out of the backfield for 15 yards. They will eat you alive with that. That's my biggest concern. That and the tight end. I'm not too concerned with the running game. They're going to run the ball. They're very good at running the ball. But again, you take away the explosive runs and you make them 3-4 yard chunk at a time. You can stay in this game, but you can't allow 50-yard break-off runs from Gibbs or 30-yard runs from Montgomery, because it just takes all the momentum out of the game, gives them confidence, and it takes away your confidence. So many different keys to this game that I've gotten into, but at the end of the day, it comes down to execution. Everything in this league is about execution, and the Colts just have to execute their offense. They have to have a good game plan, going in, and I think that should be established to run with 28 and AR. Move him around. Just stay in manageable situations so you don't have to force the ball into the teeth of their defense with those safeties, because they are playing elite football. So my prediction for this game, I do think the Colts are going to come out and match the Lions early. I think they're going to come in because they know what they're up against. They've seen what this team can do. The Lions will bully you and take your soul. The Colts, I think, are going to step up and bully them back. But in the end, the better team generally always wins, and the Lions are the best team. Not better than the Colts. They're the best team. So I think the Lions win this game. I think it's probably 31-21, something like that. I do think the Colts will stay in it for the first half. I think it'll kind of get away from them in the third quarter. It's such an uphill climb. This team is so good. So I would love to see them keep it close for 60 minutes and have a chance to win at the end, but I just don't see it. I don't think the Lions are going to allow the Colts to be able to run the ball, and I'm not sure AR is ready to have all of that on him, because the defense, they give you different looks, and they've got their secondary is very, very good, and that is just the strength of their team is their secondary, in my opinion, and they just take the ball away at such a high clip. So I think they'll hang in there, but I just think it's too tough. The rest of the games they play, I think they could win. Even the Denver game, there's a lot more paths to victory against Denver, even on the road, and with Denver playing well, than there is in this game. And one other thing I'll mention, the Colts do usually have one game, going back to 2019, a WTF game. That's what I call it, a what the fuck game. In 19, it was, we were beat up on defense. We went into Kansas City. Flus had a great game plan. We upset Kansas City on the road in prime time with Jacoby Brissett playing his worst game as a Colt. I don't know how that happened, but we did it. We went on the road and won. And then in 20, was it the Packers that we beat? We came back and beat, and they were, I think, a runner-up that year. And then 21, who was it in 21? The 49ers. I'm trying to think who we beat in 21. We killed with the Bills. We beat the brakes off the Bills. And then 22 with that horrible, awful Colt team somehow beat Kansas City again. And I think Kansas City either went to or won that Super Bowl. So, and then last year, we beat the Steelers. I'm trying to think. And then we went into Baltimore and won. They were the runner-up last year. You could argue that the WTF game this year was Pittsburgh at home, but I'm still not sold on the Steelers. They're very good defensively. Russell Wilson has played better for them, but man, do I think they're better than Buffalo and Kansas City? And even though they beat Baltimore, do I think they're better than Baltimore? I don't know. But even I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. But the Colts for this game just have to stay close, keep that offense off the field, and find a way to stay in this game. Again, going down the stretch, I think knowing where you match up with great teams is a good thing. Buffalo could be the best team in the AFC right now. They're playing the best. Detroit's superior to anybody in the NFC, in my opinion. We saw we matched up with our backup quarterback against Buffalo. We hung in there despite playing terrible offense and our defense balling. But this is a different animal entirely because of the strength of this team that we're facing. The lines are good. They're physical. They're well coached. Obviously Josh Allen's a better quarterback than Jared Goff is, but the system that Jared Goff plays in with Ben Johnson fits him perfectly. And so the Colts are just going to have to play a complete game with an efficient offense, a defense that takes the ball away. And maybe this is the WTF game. I mean, Pittsburgh could have been that. Pittsburgh is good. They're a playoff team. They might even, win that division. But when we played them, it wasn't really. We might even have been favored, or it was close in the line. So I don't really view that as a WTF game. So this might be the one for this year. If they beat the Lions, man, the amount of shit that I'm going to talk, well, maybe not. I'm not going to talk a lot of shit. I won't be talking to Lion fans, but the amount of, just giddiness and happiness that you hear from me, because I just don't see it. It's like, and the saying is on any given Sunday, so it's possible, but man, they're just so friggin' good. They don't play with their food. They eat their food. So if you screw around against this team, they can put 40 on you in a blink. So the Colts just have to play their best game of the year. I don't know if that's going to be good enough because, again, Detroit is the best team in the NFL, in my opinion. But if the Colts play their best game of the year, they will be in this game. And that's all you can really ask for, a chance to win against the best team in the league. And hopefully the crowd is rocking AR, because AR will be back in the building starting for the first time since his benching. And I know the crowd's going to be amped for that. And hopefully Detroit fans don't take over our stadium. And we can find a way to upset the Lions, who I think are favored by 7.5 and are just a juggernaut. So you guys wanted a preview. That's my preview. You probably don't like it, but that team is it's legit. It's legit, and I'm not gonna come on here and lie to you and there's weaknesses. There's not. There's really not. They do miss Aiden Hutchinson, and so that's a tough break for them. Obviously, being such an impact player, and they just put Anzalone on IR, I think, and he's a very talented linebacker. So they are missing guys on defense, but they're just so good, man. Their secondary takes the ball away. So I mean, it's just gonna be. I'm excited for it, honestly, because I want to see how AR plays. This is the type of team that I don't think is a great matchup for us, and not a great matchup for him because of the way their secondary plays. So it's a great test. It is a great test for him. He cannot fumble snaps. He cannot screw up the RPOs. He's got to make the right reads for us to be in this game. But I'm excited about the opportunity to play this team because it can show the growth of our quarterback and it can show the growth of our team. And that's all. You just want a chance, man. So if they can just hang in the game, make the proper adjustments, and make the Lions work for everything they get, they can have a chance, man. They can hang in there, and they maybe they win it on a late field goal, though I don't trust Matt Gay at all, even though he had a great week last week. Who knows? Any given Sunday, guys, you never know. And me picking the Lions makes it more likely that the Colts are going to win. So don't get mad and say I'm a hater, because you guys know from the For the Culture days, whenever I pick the Colts, they lost. So I don't pick the Colts, partially out of superstition, but I wouldn't pick the Colts this week under any circumstances because the Detroit Lions are that good. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. I don't know if you guys want me to do the pregame stuff every week or if you just wanted it specifically for this game because of the team we're playing. Let me know on Twitter. You can reach me at For the Culture, and that's culture with an O _J. And, let me know if you have any thoughts on this game, what your predictions are, and if you want me to continue doing pregames, because if you do, I'll do them. I have no problem doing that. I do what the fans want. So, watching them and breaking down the lines a little bit was kind of fun, and, just looking at their film, well, not a lot of fun because I know it could very easily be a long day for us, but it's fun to watch other teams and get into their roster and their depth and their personnel. It's always interesting, and it was an interesting look at a very, very talented elite football team in the Detroit Lions. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. Oh, one more thing. I just saw the Colts signed Mark Glowinski to their practice squad. I do think he is going to play at some point. Tucker has struggled a little bit the last few games, and I do think they want him there for the veteran leadership, and his ability to go out there. And I don't think he's going to be great, but I think he can play average, and that if you can get average play out of the right guard spot right now, I think that's an upgrade over what you've gotten from the undrafted free agent Dalton Tucker. So I did see that. I haven't seen Thursday's injury report, but for the Colts, I would expect Ryman to be out and Concavas to start. And then for Detroit, I didn't see anybody on their list on Wednesday. I don't know if they're they have got a ton of guys on IR, but I didn't see anybody on their injury list, so I expect all their big-time players and major factors to play. So, and Laporta will be back, according to Dan Campbell. I almost forgot all that, so I apologize for the long-windedness of this podcast, but I wanted to make sure I got all the information in there so you guys know exactly what is going on. So, take two. That'll be all from me. I will talk to you guys again after the game Sunday. Again, 1 o'clock, Lucas Oil Stadium. If you can go show for the Colts and be loud, and let's make history. Let's get an upset and let's get back in this wild card race and stay in it. So hopefully we can get an upset, and that would be amazing. So everybody take care. Have a great rest of the week. Again, I'll talk to you after the Sunday game with Detroit here on Culture Uncut.